So most people believe that you have to be born rich in order to acquire wealth. But we all know that about 80% of millionaires are actually self-made. We also know that 64% of Americans do not have enough savings to cover $1,000 emergency expense. And so what is the difference between the two camps? And of course, the obvious answer would be skill and competency, right? And that is true. But the thing is that you can acquire skill and competency quite easily, especially in today's world with social media and access to information. You can do a course, you can read a book, you can visit a seminar. There are many things that you can do to acquire the skill and knowledge that you need. But what's the other differentiator? Well, it's action, right? But what determines why one person will act and the other person will never even start? So the answer to that is self-perception. And that's because in order for you to do any action, you need to believe that there is a chance of you succeeding. Well, if you spend your whole life not believing in yourself or living in negativity, you don't have any objective reasons really to believe that you can succeed. And that's because most people focus on that, therefore they never even start. But the people who actually succeed for one reason or another, they're able to start acting, or they're able to start doing things, moving towards actually achieving their goal. And this is the only thing that you need to do, because there are many people who study millionaires, billionaires, and sure, that's cool. But that's really the only thing you would need to know. Of course, the competency, that can be easily acquired if that is something that you want to do, and we'll go back to that later on. But then the other differentiator will be action. And you can build your self-perception by creating a picture of you already having everything that you want to have and living from that picture. And if you're able to do that, then your thoughts will be congruent with that picture of your reality, and then you will be able to act. So that's really the first major point that you would need to focus on: building the picture and actually believing that you can achieve whatever that you want to have. And after that, we can get into the tactics. So really, there's four main wealth building paths. You have business, you have investing, you have trading, and then you have speculating as well. And you can be successful in all of them at the same time if that's something that you want to do, but it's quite difficult because they're often temperament based. And usually people who achieve great achievements, and they're able to create the life that they want, they usually focus on one, they master it, and then after that they can sort of delegate their time and their resources towards trying different things as well. So let's start with business. With business, the main thing you need to focus on is value. So how can I bring the most amount of value to my client for a price at which he will be at which he will be happy to exchange his productivity, aka his money, for your product with enthusiasm. That's the main thing that you will need to focus on. And then the other one is attention. So if you have a great product but you do not have attention, it does not work. If you have attention but if you don't have a great product, it does not work. And I invite you to look at money in a different way from now on. If you want to have more money, if you want to have a new car, if you want to have a new house, if you focus on value and not on money, then that will change your life and the money will naturally come. So if you want to buy a new car, you should think, how can I bring more value to my client? And client can be many, many things. It can be business, other business, it can be person, it can be just you doing coaching or whatever it can be. But if you focus on bringing value, the money always follows. And then the other thing is, of course, attention. And now with the social media, this is where you can find pretty much all the attention. All you need to do is create a product. Ideally, you want to be, well, pretty much always you want to be passionate about it, because then you will usually stop, because sometimes you have these road bumps along the way. And if you're not actually extremely passionate about your product, then there's a chance that you will give up, you will not stick with it, and then you will not achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. So that's business. Mainly focusing on value, connect your product with something that you actually love doing, and then focus on attention. And that's on social media. So that could be ads, that could be providing free content, whatever it is. Then the other pathway is investing. That's where you usually have some excess productivity, so you're able to save the productivity that you're able to produce, and now you're able to delegate those resources and actually give it to other people so that they can use that money in theory to expand, to grow, to improve their business. Of course, that usually works during IPAs or IPOs, but sometimes companies are raising money so they can use the fact that you bought the company for a higher price. That also helps them to raise money. So you're helping them in that way. But the idea is with investing, the resources you have, you're giving it to people, and then people use that money to improve their businesses, and you get rewarded for that. And if you keep that in mind, then you will be very careful with choosing your companies. Then you will choose only companies that where you like the leadership, where you like what they're doing, where your, I suppose, subjective view of the world in some way matches that what that product is offering. And then, of course, you will need to get into nitty-gritty. You've learned how to analyze the company and doing a lot of things like that. So that's investing. And usually that requires discipline and some sort of excess productivity side saved up on your side. Never borrow money to invest. That is the worst thing you can do in your life, at least one of the worst things you can do from the financial perspective, of course. And then the third part would be trading. And in trading, the main thing that you need to know is discipline. And then, of course, you learn the charts, but that's not too difficult to do. You can learn how to read charts in a few weeks easily and actually get quite good at it. But then it's discipline and position sizing. So with the position sizing is how much of my trading portfolio am I willing to give towards a certain trade. So you have your overall portfolio, and then you have your trading portfolio. So my rule personally is that I never trade more than 2.5% of my trading portfolio. And if I'm very confident in the trade, so there's few charts and maybe the RSI, there are a lot of parameters that sort of tell me that the probability of price going to the direction where I wanted to go is good bit higher than 50%, then I can go closer to putting 2.5% of my trading portfolio into that trade. But if it's just few things, it could be 1.5%. And if you want to sort of speculate, it could be 0.5 to max 1%. But never put more than 10% or more than 5%, even of your trading portfolio into a single trade. Because if you do that and the trade goes completely against you and you don't set stop losses or whichever way you like to trade, that could wipe out your gains for many, many months ahead. This is why discipline and what was the other one that I said? Discipline and, anyways, you get it. And then the fourth method would be speculating. And with speculating, it's very temperamental based because you need to be able to be alone. So you need to be able to buy an asset when it's hated by everyone, it's undervalued, but you believe that due to maybe a fundamental reason or whatever, the price will go up in the future. And if you are able to notice these disbalances in market price, and if you are able to be comfortable with being wrong for a few years, so let's say you believe that a certain commodity will go up in price because of fundamental reasons and now it's really undervalued. So you put your money into it and then nothing happens for a year or two. But if the fundamentals did not change, and let's say we got into the recession and price got even lower, well, that should make you happy because now the stock that you found attractive at a higher price before, like a year ago, it's even cheaper and the fundamentals did not change. So it's more interesting to you. So that should make you happy. But that's not for everyone because most people would not be able to go through that. That's what I do. I focus on the commodity sector myself and I speculate a lot. But there's a difference between gambling and speculating because when you're speculating, you can create a bucket portfolio, let's say of 20 speculations. And while you may be wrong on most of them, the ones that you get right will give you so much money that they will cover all the losses and reward you as well. And so these are the main paths that you can use to build wealth. But please follow the idea of your self perception determining if you will act on something or not. And your self perception is affected by your thoughts, of course, but then also your thoughts are affected by how you feel and the vision of your ideal life. So if you're able to actually see yourself achieving things, then you will able to have enthusiasm. And there's biological ways as well. My background is in molecular biology. But that's the main reason why it's so important to have positive view on yourself, on the world, and actually believe that you can achieve it. And then you can get into the tactics. First of all, your life will be much happier, and you will be able to act, and you will move closer towards your goal as well. And I'm sure by now you all know that it's not about IQ, it's not about any of that. And if you believe still that it's about luck, well, you have to earn your luck. So maybe a lot of people did get lucky, but they got lucky because they've actually done something. And for you to do something, you need to do the things we just mentioned about. So that's everything I want to talk about today, guys. I have a free PDF called How to Get Started, where I give you tons of really, really valuable information. I give it up completely for free. So follow the link below, and I will see you soon.